So hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Aaron, also known as Az or Azamon on the channel. So today we're going to be looking at my Rakdos Berserker deck in Standard. And it's got to Diamond, finally got to Diamond ranking, where I get 4 packs, 1,000 gold and 2 cosmetic items for the deck when the season ends. So I'm pretty chuffed. So I'm going to show you the deck list as to what it's evolved to. I have won 1 game in Diamond ranking, but I just don't think it's going to get any further. I don't think it's going to make it to Mythic. So I just thought I would share my deck list now. So it's ranked up as much as it can do, and please leave a comment in the section below if you think it could potentially get to Mythic stage. But I don't think it is. I don't think the meta is really based on I haven't seen any high power Rakdos black and red Berserker decks in high ranks, so I think this is pretty much as far as it's going to go. But yeah, I thought I'd show you a deck list because I'm having so much fun running it, but now may be the time for me to experiment with the new deck potentially, but we'll see. So keep up to date with my live streams for that. So let's go into Arena. So kapow! So we're in Arena right now. So, let's have a look at my deck. Here we go. It is the Bloodsky Massacre. So it's called the Bloodsky Massacre because the main engine of the deck is the Bloodsky Massacre card. So here we have the deck here. Bloodsky Massacre, 60 cards, standard deck. So let's just go through it pretty quickly. That's the namesake of this channel. Nice and quick videos. So we've got 4 escape velocities in the deck. A 1-drop card that gives a creature +1/+0 and haste, and it's an enchantment aura, but it also has escape on there, so you can exile 2 other cards from your graveyard and then enchant a creature in play. Let me just turn the volume down on the Arena sounds. There we go. So that's a little bit more better for you. So yeah, it's a brilliant card because obviously you can keep playing it again and again and again. Obviously the aim of this deck is aggro. You want to be smashing face as quickly and as hard as possible. So giving your creatures haste, giving it a little bit of a buff when it's already powerful is a very, very good thing. And also the escape is brilliant because you can just exile cards from your graveyard to stop sort of mill players and rogues getting the buffs from the cards in the graveyard. So escape is great for dealing with that sort of strategy. So it's a shame it's going to rotate out at some point. I will miss escape velocity, but I'm sure there's going to be other haste enablers that we can put in its stead. Next we have 4 Bloodsky Berserkers. Now these are awesome cards to play, and they really do get out of hand in the late stages when you're casting multiple spells at once. So yeah, 1 black, 1 red. Sorry, 1 black, one other for a human berserker. It's a 1/1. It's an uncommon card from Kaldheim, and it says whenever you cast your 2nd spell each turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Bloodsky Berserker. It gains menace until end of turn. So one of my turn 3 plays is play a Bloodsky Berserker, then equip it with the escape velocity, and off it goes. It's doing 4 damage because of the trigger. He gets 2 +1/+1 counters. It becomes a 3/3 permanently. Then obviously it gets haste and a +1/+0 because of escape velocity. So nice turn 3, hitting someone for 4 and having a 4/3 body out on the field that's really hard to block if you can cast loads of spells. So having 4 of those in there, not only can they pump themselves up if you play multiple berserkers in a turn, but yeah, they're just absolute menaces, no pun intended. Next we have 3 Feed the Swarms. So this is just brilliant removal for black decks. So black, 1 black and 1 other for a sorcery. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. So this is brilliant. This can hit any creatures. It can hit pesky enchantments, and it can also deal with you know, the horrible sort of pacifying effects of white and blue, like your Capture Sphere, your Water Knot, your Pacifism, Face Fetters, all of that sort of stuff that just stops aggro going through. You can play this and destroy those pesky enchantments on your own creatures, because technically your opponents still control those enchantments. They're just obviously attached to your creatures, so you can get rid of those things as well, which is brilliant. Obviously getting rid of stuff like Shark Typhoon and other pesky sagas that are in standard at the moment. Feed the Swarm is awesome card. Next we have 3 Heartless Acts. This is just a brilliant kill spell. 1 black and 1 other for an instant. Choose 1, destroy target creature with no counters on it, or remove up to 3 counters from target creature. So most of the time this spell is played simply for the 1 black, 1 other kill target creature. That is mental sauce. And I can time walk people all the time with this. If they play a big creature, I instant speed remove it. I get an extra turn, basically. That's a term I like to use on this channel, is time walk. If you can counter somebody else's entire turn on their own turn, you're basically taking an extra turn. So time walk them. Next we have 4 Immersturm Raiders. So this is just a lovely little aggro creature. 1 red, 1 other for a Demon Berserker, 2/1. When it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So it's a good way of just getting through some of the dead cards in your hand, depending on the situation. And if you've got multiple cards in your hand at the start of the game, you can pitch them away and replace them with this. But you don't have to. It's just a nice way of getting rid of or cycling through for an answer for something that's on the table. So 4 of those in there. They are Demon Berserkers, which is on flavour with some other cards coming up. But yeah, Immersturm Raider, always good to see those in your starting hand. And similar to that, we have Thrill of Possibility, so 1 red and 1 other. As additional cost to cast it, discard a card, draw 2 cards. So red card draw is always sort of pitching stuff to the graveyard. I used to have synergies in an early version of this deck with obviously Magmatic Channelers and Spell Eater Wolverines, where they obviously get buffs from instants and sorceries. But this deck slowly became Demon Berserkers, and it was just more about getting a board state and attacking rather than worrying about a lot of instants and sorcerers. So yeah, Thrill of Possibility is always good, especially I forgot to mention that with Immersturm Raider and Thrill of Possibility, obviously they both discard cards. If well, Thrill of Possibility, additional cost, you have to. Immersturm Raider, you don't have to. But with both of these cards here that tell you can discard a card, you can discard Escape Velocity, which basically means it's just an extended part of your hand because you can escape it later. So if you discard a Escape Velocity, this basically reads, when it enters, draw a card, or draw a card, draw 3 cards, basically. So cards that say discard a card to do something basically is irrelevant if you have escape cards, because escape cards are always available to you unless they get exiled from the graveyard. So discarding cards is not a bad thing if you've got loads of cards of escape. I've only got 4 copies of Escape Velocity. I have toyed with the idea of putting more escape cards in there, but there's just there's not much escape cards that really do much in this sort of deck. So I could be wrong, I could be missing something. So correct me in the comments. Next we have the namesake of the deck. That is 4 Bloodsky Massacres. So this is just the engine of the deck, really. When this comes out, it puts an immense amount of pressure on the opposing players, because they read this and think, okay, so for 1 black, 1 red, and 1 other, they create a 2/3 red Demon Berserker creature token with Menace. Okay, so that's going to be hard to block later. Okay, number 2, whenever a Berserker attacks this turn, you draw a card and lose a life. Wow, okay, so that means they're going to be getting loads of Berserkers out and attacking and drawing loads of options for later. And then on law counter 3, he adds a red for each Berserker he controls. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Oh my goodness, what? That's going to be an explosive turn. All these things are running through your opponent's head when they see the Bloodsky Massacre. They know that they're going to get smacked in the face with lots of Demon Berserkers. They know that you're going to draw into a lot of answers, and they know you're going to have an explosive turn afterwards. So having 4 of these in the deck is brilliant, because it counts as a 2/3 red Demon Berserker, because you play this, you get the 2/3 Demon Berserker with Menace at the very least. But then obviously anything after that is just absolute value town with the amount of Berserkers and stuff that we have in the deck. So it's just such a fantastic card. And one of my favourite cards of the entire set is Bloodsky Massacre. I mean, my favourite format is ultimately Commander, not so much at the moment because we can't really play it apart from Spell Table, etc. But it's just such a shame that like a card like this probably wouldn't see play in a Berserker deck, in a sort of Commander deck. It just doesn't really have enough going on. I could be wrong. There could be a really, really good Demon Berserker or Berserker Tribal deck out there potentially for Commander, but I feel like it's very much a 1v1 sort of deck. So maybe we'll experiment with with Carder Doomscourge, which is another card that ultimately didn't make the cut for the diamond rank, which maybe we'll make a deck with Carder at some point, just a janky Bloodsky Massacre EDH deck, we'll see. But yeah, just a fantastic card. It makes my favourite token of the game. So you can see it there, that Demon Berserker. It just looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it's just a namesake of the deck for a reason. It's always good to see these in starting hand, and even if I've got a 2-land hand, I normally do keep the hand if it's got Bloodsky Massacre in it, especially if I've got obviously Thriller Possibility and Limestone Raiders to help me discard and draw cards. It really is the namesake and the engine of the deck. So that's the Bloodsky Massacre, 4 copies of those in there. Next we have 4 copies of Eradicator Valkyrie. This took me a bit of a while to get. Now I will mention that this deck is completely made up of cards that I have got from packs and wild cards and all that sort of stuff. So I have spent no money on this game. 0 cash has been spent on this game. This is all grinding it out, all grinding for these cards, and yeah, I had to choose my mythic rare wild cards very carefully, that's for sure. So yeah, 4 of these bad boys, or bad girls. Yeah, Eradicator Valkyrie, black and 2 for an Angel Berserker with flying lifelink, hexproof from Planeswalkers, and it's a 4/3. And it also has boast, so you can boast it, 1 black and 1 other, and sack a creature. Each opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker. So this has been absolutely pivotal in games in the past, where I have been able to sack off the demons from the Bloodsky Massacre, also sack off the Limestone Raiders for absolute benefit in dealing with problematic mutate creatures, big massive stacks of human warriors that are equipped, knights that are equipped. All these sorts of horrible, massive creatures are just dead to boast triggers from Eradicator Valkyries. So 4 of those in there. There's redundancy from lifelink, there's evasion with the flying, and it's got hexproof from Planeswalkers, so it can't be bolted by Ugin, it can't be turned into an elk by Oko, or Oko's banned, but you know what I'm talking about. It wouldn't be able to be turned into an elk. So yeah, so much going for it. The Magic Historian did a little video on whether this card was utterly broken. I don't think it's broken, I think it's brilliant, but it's definitely not broken. So that's Eradicator Valkyrie, fantastic inclusion in the deck. Angel Berserker fits in with the Bloodsky Massacre with the fact that it is Berserker as well. So yeah, again, if I've missed any Berserkers, drop a comment in the section below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Next we have 2 Terror of the Peaks. Again, this is just a mythic rare clutch card every time. It does get sort of targeted a lot, even though it has a spells your opponent's cast to target Terror of the Peaks, cost an additional 3 life. But enchantments seem to get around this. If you bind the Tyrant, not the Tyrant, if you sort of spell knot, water knot, or sort of pacify or face fetters the Terror of the Peaks, they don't take the 3 damage. I don't know why that is. An enchantment is still targeting a creature, right? Spells your opponent's cast to target Terror of the Peaks, cost additional 3 life. It could just be an error, or maybe it's something I'm not seeing, or maybe I just haven't noticed that it does do 3 damage. I don't know. Correct me in the comments if anyone even wants to comment on this video. I'm still very, very new to this in such a respect. But yeah, Terror of the Peaks, red and 3 for a flying 5/4 dragon from M21. It's mythic rare. I remember pulling one of these out of my first bundle for M21, and it was a no, it wasn't a bundle, it was a pre-release pack, and I got a pre-release promo, which was lovely. But yeah, 5/4 flying, spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Peaks, cost additional 3 life to cast, and it has Warstorm Surge tacked onto it. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So we're dropping 4 3s, we're dropping 2 3s, we're dropping 2 1s, we're dropping 1 1s. All of these things will add up and deal a lot of damage to either pesky creatures or normally directly to the opponent's life total, because that's what we want to go for in this game. We want to go for the throat with these Berserkers and Dragons. So Terror of the Peaks, yeah, brilliant card, is always good in any situation, and it's got built-in protection in a way, and built-in removal on the card as well, so it's awesome. Absolute brilliant card, Terror of the Peaks. And finally, the last spell in the deck is Doomscar Titan. 3 of them. 3 of these boys. These are little mini crater hoofs, basically, in this sort of deck. So I absolutely love it, and it has foretell as well. So, and it's a big giant berserker. So I mean, I might as well just read out the card. Red, and 4 for a creature giant berserker. It's a 4/4 uncommon from Kaldheim. When Doomscar Titan enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. And then you can foretell it. So you can foretell it for 2 mana and then play it for 1 red and 4 on a later turn. So it does reduce the cost by 1. So you can just build up some huge attacks with this creature, and it has ended games multiple times, especially when it's pumping up menacing creatures from Bloodsky Massacre. Immersturm Raiders become 3/1s. Bloodsky Berserkers become huge as well after you've pumped or played multiple spells in a turn. Terror of the Peaks is ridiculously big in the air. Eradicator Valkyrie is now hitting for 5 and gaining you 5 life. It's just, Doomscar Titan is an absolute finisher in the deck, and I'm always glad to see it pop up. Even if it's in your starting hand, you can foretell it down for 2, so it's not a completely dead card, because obviously it reduces its cost later on. So yeah, brilliant card, and absolutely love it. And yeah, just one of the ways, one of the win cons in the deck, just punch in holes with the Doomscar Titan, pumping up your entire team. So that's all the spells in the deck. So we don't actually have that much variance in the deck. It does just have a solid game plan. And yeah, it's got me all the way to Diamond Tier 4, so I'm happy to have made that sort of ranking. But yeah, let's go through the lands quickly. Not much to see here. We've got 7 swamps, we've got 7 mountains, we've got 4 Blightstep pathways. So obviously they're good, because obviously you can choose what sort of side they enter on. You've got 3 Bloodfell Caves, which is good. So obviously it's your dual land when it enters tapped, and when it enters you gain life, so it's always good on turn 1 or turn 2 to get those extra life points in. And then we've got 4 Immersturm Skullcairns, which are just fantastic lands. I did a little video on this. I'll link it up in the top left corner or right corner here. I explained all about Immersturm, the sort of theme, the flavour, and just why it's so good. But it's basically an uninteractable bolt, which makes people discard cards. So you can always hold this over your opponent's head, and you can basically count your opponent as being 3 life less than what they actually have, because you can just crack this at the start of your turn and do 3 damage to the face and make him discard a card. So yeah, that is my deck. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any sort of recommendations or things you'd maybe take out or reduce, obviously there's a lot of 4 copies of in these decks here, in this deck here, so I would definitely like to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment in the section below as to how you think it could be improved, and please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well. I'm still very new doing this. And then go and check out my other YouTube channel as well, Pass the Turn, for big production videos when we can get back and start doing that stuff again. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. See you later.